everybody. Welcome. This is Real Estate Investing Mastery. We're coming to you live via Skype on the Dallas Cowboy Football Network.
You had Tony Romo on the phone. You didn't even know it.
That's Tony Romo from England. No. But glad you're here, guys. RealEstateInvestingMastery.com. This is a special podcast. We've got a special guest from England who's flipping deals from all over the world, and I'm excited about talking to him about it. His name is Tom Wade. But we got Alex, and if you guys are listening to the audio, you see the video of Tom right now on our website at RealEstateInvestingMastery.com, and he's wearing, what are you wearing, Alex? Just so you can, I want you to tell everybody.
I'm wearing America's team hat.
No, you're not really. But okay, but go ahead. What's you have some emblem on this hat? What is it?
Oh, it seems to be a star, and it seems to represent a football team that America seems to love.
Love to hate. So what? I mean, they lost.
It's the Dallas Cowboys.
Right. Okay.
Beanie.
But they lost pretty embarrassingly.
It was not embarrassingly. It was actually the worst call ever. And yeah, the Lions fans are like, ha, 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 see that. But, you know, it really doesn't come down to that, because that was like, there was like no chance after that call. It was over. Game was over. Yeah. The Lions game, they still had a chance, even after the bad call, to do things. Stafford did not have to fumble the football when DeMarcus Lawrence tackled him, if that was his first name, Lawrence or whatever his name was.
Right.
And they got it back, and then he fumbled it again. I mean, see, but Dallas, that was an immaculate catch, and he reached for the goal line, and the nose of the ball broke the plane. That should have been a touchdown.
I don't think so. I mean, it would be, yeah, maybe, but if the rules were that if the ground causes a fumble on a catch,
it wasn't a fumble.
If the ground causes the ball to come out on the catch,
it was in the end zone. It's different.
It's not. But I bet you anything. They changed the rule after this year.
Oh wow!
At the end of the season, I bet you they changed the rule because it should have been a catch. I agree.
Oh, look at that!
But I don't. I'm not saying I like the Cowboys.
Well,
it should have.
Truth is truth, man.
It should have been a catch. And,
I have to say, I've never watched American football before.
You know,
wow. Well, football for you is soccer.
Yeah, soccer. Yeah.
I enjoy watching soccer or European. What do you call it? Like, you call it just American football.
American football, yeah. And we call what you call soccer is we call football here, and football's massive in this country.
Yeah, man.
You know what's fun to watch though? It is fun. Have you ever watched, Alex, a soccer game with a bunch of European fans?
Oh, wow.
No.
Like, it's intense. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. I went to a game actually in Barcelona against Real Madrid, in the stadium, 100,000 fans, and it was, oh my God, it's literally insane. It's crazy.
Almost scary. It's almost scary. Like, we were in Madrid. We were in what's that town that starts Munich in Germany? We were in Munich a couple 3 years ago, and it was in the evening. We were going back home, and the friends that we were with said, "Hey, if you can, there's a big football game tonight. You need to avoid this certain subway station. Whatever you do, just avoid this certain subway station." And so we took a roundabout way, but we walked within a couple blocks of the subway station, and oh my gosh, it was crazy. There wasn't any rioting or anything like that, but just a bunch of drunk football fans that were screaming and chanting and singing songs, and
there's like the chanting. It's like echoes. The building start to shake. It's crazy.
That's pretty cool.
It was amazing.
It's really cool,
but
the atmosphere is amazing.
I've been talking to a buddy about maybe going to Russia for the next World Cup. How cool would that be?
Wow.
And it is in Russia, right? The next one?
Yeah, in Russia, yeah.
That's why, if you guys can see my cup, that's why I like the St. Louis Cardinals. The best team in baseball. Because when you go to a baseball game, it's so low-key, it's relaxed. You know, if
it is.
The
but
wildest...
it can be boring, too.
Well, that's why I love it, because it's just relaxing, right? I mean, the most excited... Have you ever been to a baseball game, Tom?
No, I haven't, actually.
You should do that when you go to L.A. You know, you're going to L.A. real soon. but there won't be any baseball games. But when you're there, but it's just so relaxing. You kind of lay back, and watch a relaxing game.
You just got to watch out for the foul balls.
Yeah.
Have you ever caught a foul ball before?
Almost.
Oh, I got one.
You know how they shoot T-shirts in the audience?
Yeah.
In the crowd? I did catch one of those one time.
Okay.
But this is the Real Estate Investing Mastery podcast.
It is. It is not
podcast.
sports.
But yeah, basically.
We're starting to sound like an ESPN channel there for a second.
Well,
yeah, commercial is coming, right?
So I'm excited about this podcast. But first, Alex, we got this thing called the Fast Cash Survival Kit. Doesn't it cost like $100 on our website or something like that?
No, I think it's actually $3.99.
$3.99. $399.
$3.99.
$3.99. Okay. And talk a little bit about what's in there, because I think people need to know about it. A lot of people have gone to the website and downloaded it, but a lot of people haven't. And I'm just scratching my head thinking why. But maybe tell just a minute about what's in it.
Well, it's basically a free course on the nuts and bolts of what we do as investors by wholesaling properties, by finding deals. So we show you how we market, and Joe's got some awesome spreadsheets in there, I believe, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's been a while since I've looked at it. I should crack the cover on it too, right?
Spreadsheets. Yeah.
He is a spreadsheet king, and it's got some awesome spreadsheets that shows you how to set up your business from zero to real estate hero. That's right. You go and say, I'm going to spend this much on marketing, and it's going to cost me this much per lead, which is going to come out to this much per deal. And it really helps you see how the business works, because we're in the marketing business. And if you don't understand that, that's something you need to start wrapping your mind around. Because if you understand cost per lead, cost per deal, that's going to radically change things for you. That's right. So if you know your cost per lead is $40 to $50, and it takes you 50 leads, let's be on the high side, to get one deal, what is your cost per lead, Joe?
I wasn't paying attention.
Oh.
What would you say?
Wow, I got to repeat myself. All right.
While you were talking, I was thinking of our buddy Preston Ely.
Why are you thinking of him?
Preston Ely, I don't know. I'll tell you why in a minute.
So all right. So, yes, we're going down to cost per lead and cost per deal, some KPIs or metrics, if you want to call them.
Very important.
Right? Key performance indicators, which I got from Sean Terry over at the Flip to Freedom podcast. Yeah. But basically what this is you got to say, okay, how many leads is it going to cost me to get a deal? And let's say my marketing cost was $2,000. And let's say I got 50 leads from that. So what's my cost per lead?
I still wasn't paying attention.
Oh! What is
my
it?
math isn't great, guys.
$40, right?
$40, yeah.
All right. So let's say I need $40 is cost per lead, and my cost per deal.
Let me write that down. $40. Okay.
All right. So now he's paying attention.
Cost per deal is $40.
No.
Cost per lead.
Cost per lead. It's the hat. It's throwing you off.
Okay, right? Go ahead. Come on.
All right. So the cost per lead is $40, and I say I need 50 leads to get a deal, right? Let's say one deal then is going to cost me what? $2,000, right?
Yes, $2,000.
Now, if I was to spend $2,000 and I got two deals out of that, well, then my cost per deal is $1,000, right?
Yes.
So if you go back through your metrics and you know, hey, let's say you're a really good closer and it only cost you 25 leads to get one deal, well, then you know how to adjust your marketing up and down, or your business is just going to get that much better. So we've got spreadsheets like that in there.
The cool thing about that, what you're talking about, is you need to know there's three numbers you need to know: your cost per lead, right? Number of leads per deal,
right?
And your average profit per deal, right?
Right.
And if you know those three numbers, the cool thing about that is you just make the slightest adjustments to maybe you start working on your conversions or your sales, like how to talk to sellers, or maybe you hire some ninja salesperson or somebody that if you can just decrease your number of leads per contract from maybe 50 to 45, that can make a huge difference in your margins and your profits, your ROI. Absolutely. Or if you're spending maybe too much marketing, maybe you're sending letters when you should be sending postcards, right?
Yeah.
and you're spending a dollar per marketing piece that goes out. Well, you need to look at your numbers and see, well, how many leads per deal am I getting from my letters, and how many leads per deal am I getting from my postcards, and how many leads per deal am I getting from Craigslist or bandit signs or billboards. And you look at your cost per lead and your profit per lead on each of those different types of marketing. And you may realize, you know what, I'm spending $100 per deal per lead with billboards, but I'm only spending $2 per lead with Craigslist or whatever it is, right? Then you can make those small adjustments and you see what's working. It's really, really important that you know your numbers. And I don't know why I was thinking of Preston Ely while you were talking, Alex, but I want to just throw out to everybody, recently he wrote some really good blog posts on his blog. I want everybody to know about it. His blog is wakewealthy.com. Wake, W-A-K-E, wealthy.com. And have you read these, Alex? He wrote some blog posts called The Health Rabbit Hole, part 1, 2, and 3.
I saw that.
Did you read that, Joe?
I read them last night.
I've been trying to get you, Joe, P90X and Insanity and all this type of stuff, Joe.
Well, he doesn't talk much about exercise as much as
it is all about the diet.
The diet and food. But oh my gosh,
have you been playing with it?
Well, I've known a little bit about this stuff, but Preston has just a unique way to present this stuff, right? I mean, like it's actually kind of funny. I mean, you read this,
it's very funny,
and you just can't help but laugh. And he's either going to really annoy you or you're going to love the guy. I mean, he's got that polarizing effect. You either hate him or you love him. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Preston.
We need to get him on a podcast interview.
Well, you have his cell phone, don't you? Don't you talk to him every day?
Every day, yeah.
But we need to get him on the show. And so I just want to give a shout out to wakewealthy.com. And everybody should read these 3 blog posts he did called The Health Rabbit Hole, part 1, 2, and 3. And it's just a story of his own kind of journey.
Well, I'll tell you, man, if you can control your diet, you have what it takes to become rich, because it is all about discipline. And I feel whenever 2 things are always in congruence with me. When I'm on top of my diet and things are going good, everything else seems to be falling in line. And when I'm starting to go on that end where I'm starting to, I'm going to eat some of this and eat some of that, eat some of this. And then my body gets into this ravaging state where I'm just hungry for sugar all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever...
It all comes full circle, doesn't it? I completely agree. It's a holistic thing. I mean, because if you're not disciplined in your diet or say fitness, then when it's time to be disciplined in your business, you're like, I'll let it fall through the cracks, and then little things build up. And but I'm familiar with Preston Ely as well. But I agree with what Joe said. You either love the guy or hate the guy. I think his stuff's funny. It's controversial, which is good. You don't want everyone to like you anyway. You just become a pleaser then. But he's really I think. Talking about the diet, I know we're talking about real estate here, but it was the high protein diet, wasn't it?
We should probably head over in that direction.
Yeah, we should now.
But it is a good point. I mean, healthy habits are important.
Healthy habits are wealthy habits.
Wealthy habits. And so it's important that you have a discipline. And I'm not the perfect expert in this, but I will tell you in the last probably 3 to 4 months, I have been eating a lot more healthier.
Good for you, man.
And so, but I still got some weight I want to lose. I need to start exercising more. But I could not stop thinking about this. I read these 3 posts last night on the airplane ride back from Atlanta, and it just blew me away. Like the way he presents it, it's funny, but it is really serious, and it's important. You are what you eat.
Yes, you are. Your body actually changes. Your composition of your body changes, and what you put in it is what your body is.
Right. So it's the health rabbit hole. Go to wakewealthy.com. Everybody should read those 3 posts and read everything else he has on there. It's
very good stuff.
Preston is Preston, right? And so it's cool. It's really good. So anyway, I want to read some reviews on iTunes, everybody, real quick, because we really, really appreciate the reviews that we get in iTunes. And when you leave us a review, it helps with our rankings. It helps kind of get this podcast out there. And about 5-10 episodes ago, we had this post called, this little show called Leave a Review, Get Some Cool Stuff. And if you leave a review, whether it's good or bad, we'll send you some free books, some free videos, and a lot more stuff that we have than just what's in our Fast Cash Survival Kit. So you got to check it out. But I'm going to read a couple of them here. One of them is Luke Buys Homes. Get your popcorn ready, 5 stars. He says, these guys are great. I listened to a few of their earlier episodes and then got sidetracked with Bigger Pockets and other podcasts. But, you know, those are good podcasts. But
absolutely,
you shouldn't ignore ours while you listen to others. I was listening to Sean Terry's podcast where he interviewed Joe, and I have since come back to the fold. Welcome back. So much valuable information is provided for free. Also, I love how every episode does not start off explaining the most basic components of wholesaling real estate.
Well, I don't know what that would be.
Who would that be?
Who would do that?
Who spends 10 minutes saying the same thing on every episode? His initials,
I don't know.
His initials are Sean Terry.
Oh.
No, I love Sean, too. I just talked to him the other day.
It's how he gets started. It's how he gets all fired up and excited, and then he blasts into it.
Yeah, so I'm telling you what, though, he's doing something that's working because he gets more downloads and listens.
He's the man.
Than any other podcaster out there on real estate investing. So, and he would probably, you know, we've been ranting or going on and on about this other stuff, and a lot of people out there probably even more annoyed with us.
They don't even like it. They don't even appreciate it.
No. Nobody appreciates what we do. But, okay, so he says here, this is really good. He says, I love how every episode, they get into the meat of the topic. Keep up the good work, Joe, and that other guy, LOL. Just kidding, Alex. All right, one more from Nelusquito. Great podcast, 5 stars. Great podcast. I have a year to listen to. Very good information for people who are beginning in this business. Thanks, guys. So, yeah, we appreciate all the reviews. Please leave some more, and maybe we'll read yours on the next episode or two. So, let's see here. We got Tom Wade from Windsor, which is in England, nice. Tom, right? And you can throw a rock and break one of the windows in the royal palace there, right?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, you can have tea with the Queen as well whenever you want. It's no problem. No, it's not that easy. But it's just
how far are you really from the Windsor Castle?
The Windsor Castle is literally 2 minutes. Okay, it's just literally around the corner.
Wow!
Literally just around the corner. Yeah,
that's sweet.
It's just outside London. It's about 30 minutes drive from central London. So lovely little town. Great, definitely visit when you're down in England.
I gotta ask you something. Do a lot of people in England watch Downton Abbey? Is that a popular show there? Is it kind of portray what England really was like way back in the 1920s?
I'm not actually familiar with that show. No, I don't watch too much TV. Sorry to disappoint.
Well, that's fine. I don't watch too much TV either. I don't watch Downton Abbey.
You say Downton.
Downton.
It's not downtown.
No, it's Downton.
Downton.
No, and I don't watch it. I'm just saying. Okay, but anyway, Tom, so you live in England. We were there about 2 years ago. Flew into London. It was about a month or two before the Olympics. And we waited in their cattle stall with that like 1,000 people in this huge room going through customs for like 3 hours. It was crazy. But our kids did awesome. And then we saw London. London's a beautiful city. We fell in love with it. It's awesome, but it's just so huge. It's crazy. It's awesome. The best thing you guys have, I mean, it's so awesome, Alex, because they drive on the wrong side of the road, right? And as you're crossing, as you're crossing the street, if you're not careful, you'll get smacked by a car. And so every crosswalk, they have these letters painted on the sidewalk. Look this way for traffic, or this way.
Did you go in one of the black cabs, Joe? Or?
No, we didn't.
Oh, no, you should have.
we went on the double-decker bus. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, cool.
But, it was just a beautiful city. And then we went to Northern Ireland to get out into the country. It was gorgeous. I love going out to England, and I'm hoping to go again real soon here. But so, okay, Tom, you're from England. You're in Windsor. Tell us your story a little bit. I mean, you were working corporate job. You start hearing podcasts. You start flipping deals. And you actually, I want you to tell the story of how you how you flipped a deal in the United States from England.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. In fact, I just want to say thanks for having me, guys. It's awesome to be on, and hello, listeners. But yeah, well, the story was pretty much I was working a 9 to 5 about 3 or 4 years ago, and I was just doing, a job. I was waking up and doing things I didn't enjoy. So it was the grind, when you're working a 9 to 5 job, and you don't like it, waking up in the morning, you're not inspired to give your best work. So I knew from a young age, I actually dropped out of college at 16. So I always had that sort of entrepreneurial spirit. I always wanted to get into real estate, something that I always wanted. Even when I was younger, I said, look, I want to, do houses. That's what I used to say about 6 or 7 years old. So I knew I wanted to go into that. I just didn't know where to start. I didn't have a clue. And I was working 9 to 5s, low income. And I always wanted to have a lot of money, but also have freedom as well. And to be able to, if I wanted to travel, then I could do that. So one time, just coincidence, divine intervention, if you like, one of my friends said, have you seen the foreclosures in the US? Maybe you could save up or get a loan and buy one of them and flip them.
What year was this?
This was back in about 2009.
Okay.
2009, 2010 now. Yeah, I think foreclosures, and I know the crash was about 2008, wasn't it? It was around about the same time as the UK as well. So I was looking at these properties, but I had no idea about real estate at the time. So I was an amateur. So I thought, that sounds good. So I started doing some research online, and I started to come across different people, actually yourselves and Sean Terry and some other people and Dean Graziosi and these other people that were doing it and teaching it and actually flipping deals. And I come across creative options, and I thought, wow, this looks amazing how you can flip deals with no experience, which I had no experience, no credit, which my credit cards were maxed out, so I had no credit, and no cash, which I had literally just deficit. So it was like, wow, this is made for me. And about a year later, doubts and fears started to get in. I started to dabble with it. I didn't really fully integrate myself and say, okay, let's burn the boats here and make this happen. I didn't do that. I sort of dabbled. But then I started looking at different people that were actually having success in the US. And I thought, well, it's going to be challenging for me to actually flip a deal in the US while I'm in the UK. So that's when I actually started looking how you could do it virtually. And I come across different people that were doing it, especially like yourselves and other people that were teaching this as well. So I thought, okay, let's dive in and let's do it. And to make a long story short, I actually done my first deal I done was in Memphis, Tennessee. It was a three bed house, and I wholesaled this house. But the owner was.
How did you get it under contract?
It was from Craigslist.
Okay.
So I just literally, because I had no money at the time, I had no marketing budget. So I thought, okay, let's not make excuses here. Let's just go on Craigslist, start emailing people, and I done that. He come back to me, and I found out he was actually living in the UK. He was he was living overseas. And I thought, wow, yeah, and I started emailing, and I found out the house was completely trashed by the last tenant. It was boarded up, and it was just in a mess. And I believe he wanted $20,000 for it. But he was a very distressed seller, and I got him down to $10,000. And wow. I was like. And this was all done via email. I didn't even pick up the phone, and I was like, because I didn't really, because I was learning from people that were doing it. I always believe in modeling the best, so finding people that are doing it and just following in their footsteps. And in my mind, I didn't have the doubt that it wasn't possible. Yeah. So I just saw people that were doing it. I thought, okay, well, I'll just do the same, and I'll flip a deal in the US just like it's normal. And then I actually found the buyer actually via Facebook, and I got in touch with him via Facebook, and he said, yep, let me go round there, and I got a lockbox on the property. I got someone to put a lockbox on there. He went round and he said, yep, let's take it, and I found a title company online, and I just flipped it, and then got a wire in about 4 to 6 weeks later, and that was, there was a few little things, a few challenges up until that point, but that was how I done my first deal in the US,
So this is so cool. I love this because I'm not kidding. Just the other day, I talked to a gentleman from England who was trying to flip deals in the United States, and he was really discouraged, and he's really struggling. Okay. And I was trying to encourage him. I said, look, don't quit or give up. You got to be consistent with the marketing. You got to be persistent. It's a longer I don't want to say it's a numbers game, because it's really important if you know how to talk to sellers and sell, which you're going to be talking about, because you're good at that. But I was just encouraging not to give up. And then literally like a few hours after I talked to him, I hear your story when we were talking the other day about this. And it's just awesome, because you can do this from anywhere in the world. And you do now a lot of deals even in your own backyard virtually, while you travel all around Europe, which is cool.
Yeah. Well, after I'd done the deal in the US, what I'd done was I didn't actually know options and real estate, creative real estate, and no money down real estate was possible in the UK. Yeah. I just didn't have any clue. I didn't think it was possible. So what I did was I just took the knowledge from there and said, well, why not apply it in my own backyard and see what happens here? And I started doing that, and I was looking at different deals because I was studying different strategies such as wholesaling lease options and also wholesaling just below market value deals. I went at it a bit of both, but the beauty of it is there was a little bit of competition, but compared to the US, there was pretty much zero. So when I was doing different strategies such as direct mail to probate, I was the solicitor, I think you'd call it. I don't know what you call it there, but the PR, the representative of the estate, they said, this is the only letter I've had. And I was like, wow, I just didn't have any clues. I thought, is anyone doing this? And that led me on the journey to apply what I learned in the US and really just take it to a whole new level. And do it all virtually. And yes, it's a blast. The business is an absolute blast.
So we were talking about this before, and I want to talk about how you do your marketing, because you understand the importance of marketing. You've come up with, you know what your numbers are, right? I mean, you have to send out a certain number of letters, or you need to contact a certain number of people on Gumtree, which we're going to talk about in a second.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's talk about lease options a little bit, because the deal that you flipped in the United States was just a regular wholesaling deal.
Yep.
Did you have any problems getting the money wired to you, even though you were from another country, or was that a difficult process?
It wasn't difficult, no. I just had to set up a US, basically like a US account, so the tax treaty. So between the tax treaty between the UK and US, and I just got someone to help me with that. It was I had to go to London and sort that out, and they set up the accounts. But yeah, it was pretty simple. I mean, my mind was really, okay, I'm the type of person that I'll do it and I'll figure out the details later. Nice. So I just dived in and just thought, because at the time I was just it was killing me working and stuff. And as you know, when you've got that entrepreneurial spirit, working for someone else, it drains your energy and your soul really. So I knew that I wanted to do it. So I just thought, because I didn't actually think it was possible in my country in England. So I just thought, okay, well, let's do it in the US. If other people can do it, like yourself, if you can flip deals in Prague, yeah, and you're literally just an hour away from me on the plane in Prague. I'm in England, then I can do it as well. So
Well, sometimes you gotta. I like the saying that sometimes you gotta fall. You gotta jump from the building and figure out how to fly as you're falling. And I mean, in a certain sense, and that really relates to business, because I love the saying too that ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. Ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice, because a lot of people want to know everything. They want to know all of the what ifs. They want to have all of their questions figured out first in advance before they take any action. And that's a recipe for disaster, because you'll never, ever get to that point where you're starting to do deals if you have to have all your questions answered first.
Yeah, well, I mean, what you said there, I mean, everyone can have the knowledge and try and figure out, okay, how does that work? How does it work when it goes to the title company? What if my marketing doesn't work? And then a lot of people have questions, what if I've only got $500 left. What if I spend all of that money on marketing and I don't get a deal? But that type of mindset, I just come from an abundant mindset, really. If I'm just going to make it happen. If someone else is doing it, then it's over for me. I know I'm just going to go full in. And I think everyone has that in them, but they just let the fears and doubts come. Good. So, but what you said, I think, about knowledge is applied knowledge is what a lot of people say, knowledge is power. I think action, taking consistent action day in, day out until you get your results, and then tweaking it along the way and saying, that's what you said at the start, which I agree with, about knowing your numbers. So you could look at a log sheet and go, actually Bandit signs seem to be working great for me this month. So I'm gonna ramp up the marketing on Bandit signs, or maybe I'm low on my budget this month. So let's do Craigslist, or as we say here, Gumtree. So
Gumtree. All right,
yeah,
so
Gumtree.
Now, do you call them? It's funny in England, you call them sourcing and packaging deals. Is that right?
Yeah. So you do wholesale deals. You call it wholesale, and we just call it, which there is wholesaling here as well, but most people just know the terms as just sourcing and packaging B&V. So finding it as a £75,000 and flipping it on for 80,000 or.
Yeah. So then when you do that, do you assign your contract or do you double close? How does that part of the transaction work? I'm just curious.
Well, we get it under an option.
Okay.
Secure it under an option, then just assign that option
nice.
on closing. And I just same way as you do it. I receive a reservation fee, non-refundable deposit to make sure they're serious, and then just move it forward to the solicitors. And
cool.
Move it forward. And all the strategies that are used in the US. A lot of them are used here, but I'm bringing and innovating a few different strategies for example, like wholesaling lease options, very few people actually do it here. They use a different type of strategy on lease options. So there's a whole market to attack really. And, it's incredible.
Okay, well, I love lease options because it allows you to control property without owning it. Okay. So in England, is it the same concept? Does it work the same way? You have an option on a property to buy it in a couple years, and then you lease it from the seller during that time. Is that the same thing?
Exactly the same. So I'll give you an example of a deal. The first deal I done in the UK was a lease option. I was here in Windsor, and my first lease option was up north, so closer. Are you familiar with Scotland?
Well, on a map,
UK?
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so it was up north. And it was in South Yorkshire. And that was my first lease option. That was actually on Gumtree. I went on Gumtree and contacted the lady and found out she didn't have any equity in her house. And this is when I was doing it all myself at that point. And I'll get on to how I sort of started to do more outsourcing and delegating the tasks. But I found out she didn't have any equity. So this is all over the phone at the time. And I floated the idea past her about how we could take over her payments. And how I put it is sort of babysitting the existing payments up until the market recovers so we can purchase it. And she was a bit skeptical at first, and she actually said no straight away. And at the time, I was learning a lot about how to negotiate and how to never accept no for an answer in sales and answer their objections. And I got through to that. And a few calls later, she said, okay, well, what's the next step? I'm happy with this. I sent her through a few details, and she said, yeah, let's go ahead. So what I did with this one, because I wanted to get some cash for myself, I wanted to build up so I could quit my job.
Well, could you talk real quickly about how much equity was in the deal? Was there any equity, and was there cash flow?
No, it was actually a negative equity, the house. The existing mortgage was £70,000, and the current market value was £60,000. Okay. So there was quite a bit. So I knew for a fact, okay, I need to get this under a long option. I actually got it on a 15-year option, and just to allow the market to recover enough time for that. But what I did, what strategy we use, and I'm sure you probably use it in the US as well, is I agreed it in principle, and she was happy. But then I said, okay, well, I want to package this deal up and find a buyer. So I packaged the deal up, and I actually found a buyer, and he was in London, but and the buyer was actually found again on Gumtree.
Really?
And he was an accountant in London, and he was going back and forth from London to India, back and forth. So he just was very hands off. He said, "Can you do everything for me? Can you help find a tenant for me?" And I said, "Okay, well, this is what I charge." And even though I didn't have any money at the time, so I just thought, let's just test it and see what happens. And he said, sure, no problem. I managed to package them up and source them together. And I think I made from that deal altogether £4,000 from that deal. And that was my first deal I done.
So you packaged them together.
Yep.
So you had two properties under a lease option contract. One of them was really long because it was negative equity.
Yeah.
And the other one, was it negative equity too?
Yeah, well, this is the first one. I'm still talking about the first one, yeah. So I just found my exit strategy, if you like, was just to agree the term, the 15-year term, and then package that on to an investor that wanted to take over the payments and rent it out.
Oh, so okay, you're packaging this then, and then selling the contract or the package to another investor.
Exactly.
I see. Yeah. So then, was there cash flow, monthly difference between the mortgage payment and the rent on that property?
Yes, there was some cash flow. The cash flow was about, I believe, £125. So it wasn't massive cash flow, but I found for him, the concept of lease options to the investor that I packaged the property onto, he didn't have too much experience, and he was happy just to have more properties on his books, really. So he was over the moon with that.
And he gets to hold it for 15 years. So
exactly,
it's going to be probably, if it's worth 80 now, it's probably going to be worth £100 in 15 years, maybe, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. Or even more. I mean, in 15 years, I mean, on the land registry here, which it records all of the sales, I mean, they say up north it's probably doubles every 9 years.
Yeah.
So, he's got 15 years there. He's receiving cash flow as well. He could find a tenant buyer for the property, and he's become a great client since then. And I've sourced him on since then another 10 or 12 deals. So it's
nice. So then, did you find a tenant to live in the house for him then?
Yeah, that's what I done for him. I found a tenant for him. Yeah, I just quite easy. And I think he paid me an extra £500 to do that. So
nice.
He was very just hands off, and he wanted me to do everything for him. And at the time, I was just like, I'll do everything for you. So I wanted to get as much cash in the bank as possible, so I could.
Nice. So for our U.S. listeners, £4,000 is about $5,000 US.
No, it's probably about closer to 7,000, I think, or $6,500.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah, so it was to me at the time, literally that was massive, because I think I was earning about $1,000 a month at the time.
Oh wow!
So to me it was massive at the time. It was
I've been looking a lot lately at the currency exchange rates to the euro and the dollar.
Yeah,
the pound and the Czech crown to the dollar, because we're actually thinking about going back to Prague in June or July of 2015. For at least like 3 to 6 months. We're so excited about it.
Oh, sweet.
And so we're going to be going there. And if you look at a chart, it's kind of crazy. The euro has been dropping dramatically the last few months compared to the U.S. dollar. And, so it's amazing the difference in the currency exchange rates.
Especially the crash with Greece and a lot of the euros being crashing.
Okay, so this is really cool. You're now starting to do these lease option deals, and you're packaging them.
Yeah.
Are you selling them to investors? Is that what you typically do then?
Well, that's when I first got into it. I was packaging them. I was agreeing them and packaging them on because I wanted some cash flow coming on. But for now, what we're doing is we're doing a lot of different types of strategies. So we're still packaging them on to investors.
Okay.
But we're also, what I'm doing this year is I'm doing a different type of a different package where I'm agreeing the deal with the seller, but I'm also finding the tenant buyer for the property and taking the initial option fee, the tenant buyer up front, but then I'm also packaging it to an investor as an already ready-made deal with a tenant buyer. So I'm getting two fees. So I'm getting, instead of making £4,000 or £5,000 a deal, I'm making about £10,000 per deal. And that's something I'm looking to get into a lot more in 2015. So it's just a little spin.
Are you doing, what percent of your deals now are you doing? Well, first of all, like how many deals are you averaging a month right now in your business?
Right now, about 5 to 6 deals a month at the moment.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the average income is in England, but I'm suspecting that you're making probably a lot more than the average income for people who live in London right now.
The average income in London's a little bit more in London, but the average income in the UK, I think it's about £25,000 to £30,000.
Okay.
The average income, probably closer to £30,000. So, yeah, I mean, if you think about it, even just one deal a month, I mean, is $3,000 to $4,000, and that can replace most people's incomes, and you can do this business part time. That's the beauty of it.
So, how many pounds per month is the average income, or is that an annual average income?
That's annual, so it's probably per month. It's probably about £2,000 per month.
That's awesome. Congratulations. Good for you, Tom. I mean, that's so cool. I love hearing those stories.
Yeah, of course.
Guys who just say, you know what, I'm going to live life on my own terms, right?
Oh.
I don't have to sit in this cubicle for the rest of my life. Do you have cubicles?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the little boxed in things where you can't breathe.
Horrible.
And
it's horrible.
Well, to be honest, to me, the way I see it is, there's you have one life, and some people, there are an exception that like working for other people and they like getting told what to do. But for me, I'm a very, very bad employee, and I just don't play ball with people telling me what to do. And that's just the way I've been since I was young. I mean, I dropped out of college early on, so I always had that sort of spirit to go out and do my own thing. And when real estate come knocking, it was like divine intervention, really. I mean, I still pinch myself every day and say how lucky I am to be able to be in a business where you can literally, anyone can do it. A cleaner could do it out on the streets, find a property for this much, and then just flipping it on for this much, and just doing 3 or 4 a year is more than most people's annual income. So it's incredible, but I love the business.
All right, so what percent of your deals are lease option deals, and what percent are regular wholesaling deals? Do you understand?
So it's about wholesale deals. Yeah, so about 70% are lease option deals, and 30% are just B&V wholesale deals, where I flip the deal onto a cash buyer. But there's also a different strategy we do as well, and we call it here an assisted sale. So what we do is the same concept, is get it under an option.
Okay.
But what we do is we flip it onto retail.
Okay.
We flip it onto retail. So like we delay the completion almost. So we go in there, so we get it under an option, and let's just say it's a probate property. It needs a little bit of work. And we go in there, put it under an option, we do the work on the property, and then we flip that straight on to a retail. So we put it up with like a realtor, what we call it here is an estate agent. And I say to him, look, find a buyer for this in as quick time, the fastest time possible. And that's a great strategy. But the profit margins are a £15,000 to £25,000 per deal. Obviously, it's a bit, it's like a fix and flip, pretty much. But I'm just not putting all my cash down. I'm getting it under an option, doing the property up, and then flipping it to a retail buyer.
In England, do you have something like the MLS, where there's one place everybody goes to get information on properties?
Yeah. The MLS is the multiple listing service. Am I right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What we have here is we have like Rightmove and Zoopla. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're big. They're big advertisement websites where estate agents, realtors will go on and advertise a property, so you can contact them directly.
It'd be cool, Tom. Could you email me the links to those sites? I'll put them in the show notes. I'd like, if people in America would like to see what that looks like, I'd love to send that to them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no problem.
Put links to UK MLS. And there's also Gumtree. So you go to Gumtree is like the American version of Craigslist. People put their houses on there for rent or for sale. Is that right?
Yeah, so it's private sellers will go on there, advertise there, list their property for sale, wanting to obviously avoid fees, realtors fees. And we just contact them directly, either via email or text.
Okay. And which is brilliant. I've been doing that for years here in the United States. And we've also talked about this before, the marketing that you're doing right now. So how much direct mail are you sending, and how much are you doing on Gumtree, where you're contacting the sellers through that way?
Well, I'm doing several areas in Gumtree. We're picking about 3 to 4 different areas, especially up north, because that's where it's more the equity situation. So it's better for lease options. But we're also contacting private sellers, but also landlords as well. So we're trying to find tired landlords, either for wholesale below market value deals, or also wholesaling lease options as well. So we're contacting them directly. Direct mail, what I'm doing is I'm sending a lot of yellow letters and postcards to negative equity databases. So people that bought in the crash, so 2007 to 2008, I'm consistently mailing, spending around about 3K a month on that at the moment. But we're also doing probates as well, so direct mail probates, and consistently doing that and sending it to the executor, as well as also we're actually testing something at the moment. It's sending it to directly to the actual deceased estate as well, and we're having quite a good success with that. And some of my students as well have been getting quite a lot of deals from that as well. So what's
so cool is you're blazing a trail. It's like hardly anybody is doing this in England. Right?
Yeah, well, there's some people that teach it. I mean, you've got gurus that teach this type of stuff, and but it's like anything. There's always going to be strategies that are taught, but not a lot of people take action and apply it. And when we talk about, because I know you're big on this, and this is what I do, talk about virtually doing it, where you can do it all from your just phone and laptop, and you can have the freedom to say, okay, well, I want to go to Barcelona, or I want to go to Thailand and live there for a couple of months. Your business doesn't get affected simply because you can run this all with just an internet connection. And I know some people say, "Oh, that sounds a bit cheesy," but you actually can. That's the funny thing about this business, is you actually can do that. So all you need is a phone and laptop, and that's what I've found. And in terms of sellers, meeting sellers, I rarely ever meet sellers. I pretty much do it all from my laptop. And I mean, just recently, I'll give you an example. I went to Barcelona, I think about 6 weeks ago, and I was there for about 5-6 days, and we flipped a couple of deals while I was out there and staying in a beautiful place. And I'm not saying that to impress people. I'm just saying what's possible, what you can actually do. And there's nothing special about me. I've just learned how a system works, and I'm just following a proven system and just doing it over and over again.
Well, what's so cool about this is you're flipping homes in your own backyard without seeing the house, really just talking to the seller on the phone.
Yep.
You're not getting in your car, going to look at the house. You're flipping these properties from your desk or from the coffee shop, right?
Yeah. Well, everyone knows, people that know me in England. I'm always at the coffee shop, and because the calls, I've got a lot of it. I'm always at Starbucks, or there's a Cafe Nero here in Europe. It's quite popular. You'll probably see it when you go to Prague. But because the majority of the calls I have now. When I first started in the business, the first 3 to 6 months, I was doing everything myself, which I was fine for. I was still doing it virtually, but I was doing every call. So I was doing what I was doing is I was leaving work, rushing back home, and I've set up appointments. I was jumping on the phone till about 10 p.m., emailing, doing everything myself, until I just asked myself a simple question. And I said, okay, this stuff I'm doing, can I outsource this to someone overseas, say in the Philippines? Right. Is that possible for me to do? And I started getting into that, and a big inspiration for me at the time was actually the 4-hour work week, which was, which is a game changer for me at the time. So I started, going.
Hey, Alex.
I'm here.
We lost you for a while there.
Yeah, you did.
Well, we were just talking to Tom about how he's been doing these deals virtually.
Okay.
Even when he was doing deals in England. And he's in England. He's doing these deals from his computer and with his cell phone. But now he's starting to travel around Europe, still doing deals in England, which I think is so exciting. And Tom, you're talking about your virtual assistant. So you have a team. Talk a little bit about the outsourcing and how you do that. I mean, I imagine that's even in America that still sounds foreign to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's.
Talk about that a minute.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, like I said, I was doing everything myself, and which was fine at the start because I wanted to get stuck in and learn it. I think I'm a firm believer is first do something, and then you can teach people, outsource it to other people. So I went through that, and the 4-hour work week and Timothy Ferriss inspired me to start outsourcing, and I looked at what I could outsource. So I just asked myself a simple question, and I said, can I outsource the emails? Yes. Can I outsource the texting on Gumtree? Yes. Can I outsource the screening of the calls? So I'm only speaking to serious, motivated sellers? Yes. Yeah. I can outsource that to someone in the Philippines, and I can do that for, say, £150 per month. And for them, that they're happy to do that every day.
I love that. £150.
That would be about $300 US a month, maybe, right?
Yeah, about that. Yeah. So that led me on that journey to say, okay, well, what can I outsource? So I started doing that, but and I was having good success of that. But what I found personally for me is I found the accents of the Philippines are more closer to the US compared to English accents. Are obviously quite a lot.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So what I did from there is I actually wanted to get. So I said, how can I keep my costs down low? So I started finding people that are working commission based. So stay-at-home mums that are happy to work on commission basis, take the calls for me, screen them, and also help close the deals as well. So all I did was
You're paying them commission-based, so you're not paying
commission-based.
Salary.
No, all commission. I don't have any people employees. It's all on commission basis. And they're happy with that. It's not like I'm finding someone, and I find what happens is you find people that are more hungry and more willing to actually do it. Because if they're in the minimum wage, they're sort of like, yeah, okay, it's okay. But when I find someone on commission basis and I say, look, this is what you can earn, but it can get a lot better. There'd be more opportunity, maybe even joint venture on other businesses and other things I'm doing. They're happy. I mean, because 2 hours a day for them to potentially, let's just say they've done a deal a week, I give them a 20% commission on each deal I do. So £4,000, so it's about £700 per deal. And they can earn anywhere between £2,000 plus, and they are doing that. So, awesome. so that's what I found with the Philippines. It's better to get them to do the data entry work and fighting someone that's a more, because in England, people like to talk about how bad the weather is and stuff like that, and I find the Philippines can't always connect on that level. So it's just testing right. things.
So let's talk about some of the systems and tools that you use for outsourcing. Your Filipino VAs, do you have a website that you use to manage them?
I actually use Odesk.
Odesk, okay, cool.
Yeah, I use to find them, and I've been using. What I am doing is I'm actually moving over to Podio, but as my CRM, I was using Google Drive. So I just find Podio is a bit more streamlined and works for me a little bit better. So I'm in the process. We're setting that up at the moment, but I've been using Google Drive.
I don't think you've ever heard of Podio, have you, Joe?
Podio, no.
Yeah, you've never heard of that, have you?
No, but you know what? What's interesting is Podio was actually started and designed by a company in Europe. I want to say the Netherlands, but Holland or it's all the same.
Yeah, it's all
somewhere
the same. I always
right?
get that mixed up.
But that's cool. So now you're starting to use Odesk to manage your VAs. You're starting now to use Podio to manage the lead flow, which is awesome because especially if you're going to be doing a business virtually, you need some tool that can allow you to control all the leads no matter where they're coming from or who's handling them, and it's a great way for you to collaborate and communicate with your team. You understand what I'm saying, Tom?
Oh yeah, you have to. You have to have it's like a base. It's like I call it like the virtual office. I always use the analogy of like a coffee shop. They've got their base, they've got their system up and running. Like Starbucks, it's leverage, and they can afford just to replicate the same thing and scale it. So that's how I look at a business, really. I think a lot of property investors, myself at the start, you look at it, you start treating it not like a business, like a hobby.
Yeah.
So I had to say, how can I scale this to a completely different level where I can take it, 6 figures and beyond, multiple 6 figures a year, and how can I do that? And the only way to do that is by outsourcing and finding other people that can do the majority of work, and it just works so much better. And if I'm out with my friends and I'm out enjoying like a nice meal at a restaurant, I can still have people taking calls for me. And my business still runs, so I'm not relying. It's not. If I don't do tasks that day, it's okay because my business still runs. So I'm not relying on other people. I'm not relying on myself to do everything. Otherwise, if I fall ill or something happens, or my business stops. But in this case, when I've delegated tasks to other people, it still runs. So yeah, I love it. Outsourcing. I think it's just crucial to make a business scalable, 100%.
Now, talk about how do you find somebody to market the home, to show the home, to take the pictures, and who do you have to do that for you?
That's great. So what I do, that's a good question, actually. What I do with the sellers, I get the vendors to take the photos for me, and I also get them to take the video as well for me, and then they email that straight to me. And normally what I do most of the time is I have a lot of contacts. So I might say to them, look, you don't mind if you just go round and do some viewings, is that okay? And then I give them a commission on the back end, and we build good relationships like that. And I've actually got people all around the UK that can do that for me. And we just build great relationships. And for them just to go 15, 20 minutes in the car for a £250 commission, or £500 or whatever, if I'm feeling generous.
He's got it. He's got it down. He's got the whole process down.
Well, it's brilliant because you have a virtual assistant in the Philippines who's doing your marketing, right? Who is sending the email, sending the text messages. I'm sure you're not licking stamps and sending envelopes yourself, so you have a company that's doing your direct mail for you, right?
Sure, yeah. They do everything. I just send them the data, and they fire it off.
Nice. And then you have a stay-at-home mom who knows how to talk about the weather in England. That takes the calls.
Bad weather. Yeah.
The bad weather.
People always
by the way,
complain.
when we were in London, it was beautiful.
That's a beautiful day here as well. I think English people just love to complain about the weather. I mean, it's just conversation everywhere you go. You'll hear, "Oh, it's raining again," but yeah, it's another story.
Okay, so and then you have the VAs or the stay-at-home mother, whoever's in England, will pre-screen the leads, right? So they will ask the basic questions, pre-screen the leads, and you are only talking to the most motivated sellers, the ones who are most likely to want to do a deal right away, right?
Yeah, so I'm talking to the hot leads. So I know they've gone through a screening process where the my assistant in the Philippines have screened them, or someone that works with me on a commission basis, they would have screened them and maybe done a follow-up call, and they've already put the idea, they've got to the point, they found out how much equity have they got. Can this be a wholesale below market value deal? Or maybe if they don't have any equity, then they know the strategies to offer. So could this work for you where we could babysit the payments, etc., and allow the market to recover via release options? So, and then if I want to get on the phone, then I will. But because I love getting on the phone and doing deals, because it's a passion of mine, and I'll do that every week. So I'll jump on the phone, and after this call now, I've got a few leads to call up. So.
And that's something that we could spend probably an hour talking about, because it's really important what you say to sellers, how do you control the conversation, how to ask the right questions. And I imagine that goes across cultural boundaries.
Yeah. I'll probably say it's one of the most important things, because anyone can do marketing and anyone can do lead generation. Is obviously important. Everyone can get leads into the system, but it's how to turn them leads into deals. And obviously that's the one that gets cash in your pocket, because most people, they don't learn sales. They're not willing to. What I done is I just studied from the best people in the NLP world, such as people like Tony Robbins and other people in that area, to learn how to actually negotiate and to be able to do deals and answer ask the right questions. Because you can get on the phone, if the person, I just firmly believe people will do business with people they know, like, and trust. So if they don't feel they trust you, then you're just, even if they fit the bill and they would sell below market value, or they would do a lease option, if they don't trust you because you're not building rapport, then you just can't do it. But the beauty, when you learn how to close deals, a lot of people think I have to go meet the seller, but I think you only have to meet the seller if you haven't mastered the art of negotiation and closing the deal. That's what I believe. That's my experience.
That's really good. Now
you're doing mainly lease options, right?
I'm doing about 70. I think you got cut off earlier when Joe asked. Well, I'm doing about 70% lease options and 30% wholesale below market value properties.
Okay.
And what's interesting, Alex, is he's packaging a lot of his lease option deals and selling them to investors. So he's getting money on the front end and the back end. So he's getting you put the tenant buyer in the property, right, Tom? You collect the money from the tenant buyer. And then when he sells it to the investor who wants the investment property to hold, he's collecting an assignment fee from the investor as well.
Wow, it's doubling up.
Doubling up, yes, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Yeah, it's something it's new. We're actually starting to sort of innovate and try and do this. But there's a lot of tenant buyers, especially now. I mean, I don't know if you're finding it in the US as well. This the new year, everyone wants to get on the housing ladder and they're motivated to have a fresh start. So I'm finding there's tons of tenant buyers coming in, and I'm building a bigger database UK wide.
That's awesome. So now you've got the VAs, you've got the stay-at-home moms who are taking your calls. You talk to the most motivated sellers. When you get a property under contract, you don't go to the house to get the contract signed. You sign them electronically, or
Yeah, I use a software called HelloSign. I don't know if you're familiar with that. HelloSign,
nice.
HelloSign, and just send over the paperwork. I mean, if it is an elderly person, then yes, you can just send it. UPS, I can send it that way. But or sometimes I don't want to give the wrong impression. Sometimes sellers will go, I want to meet you. If I ever get someone to go meet them, I want to make sure I've already put a soft offer past them. They said, yeah, I pretty much know they're going to say yes, but they might just want, they're old school and they might want a reassurance of a handshake and someone to do that, which is say 20% of deals I have. But I've managed to build a lot of relationships with other wholesalers and investors that will happily go around there for me and get the contract signed that way.
Beautiful. And then when you have you start marketing a house, you get the seller to send you pictures and to send you video. You hire people on a commission based only to actually help show the home if you have to and do any of the legwork, right? So
yeah,
you've literally have outsourced 95% of the deals, and because you're good at talking to sellers and you enjoy that, you're keeping that for yourself, and that's probably, you've discovered, I'm going to guess, the best use of your time. You figured out, you know what, if I'm going to, there's all these things that I've got to do in this business to do a deal. This is what gives me the best return on my time, and this is what I'm best at, so this is what I need to continue to do, and let me just outsource everything else. Is that kind of right, the way you look at it?
Yeah, because I always look at it, how valuable is your hour? So instead of how much money you make, because you could be running around spending, say, 80 hours a week on the business, yet you're making a lot of money, but your hourly rate is reduced. So I just look at the small tasks and I just ask myself a simple question: can this be outsourced to someone else so I can focus on things, what I enjoy and love, and two, which makes me more money, and so I can do the things I want to do. I try and keep it as simple as possible with business, and my core thing is getting leads in the system and turning them leads into deals, and keeping it as simple as possible.
It's a beautiful, simple process that if you can do it in the United States, you can do it in England, and you're starting now to teach and coach people to do the same thing in England. Isn't that right, Tom?
Yeah. I've been for the last year. I mean, I was never going to go. Actually happened accidentally. I was never planning to go in that circuit of teaching, but because I had a lot of people on my database, investors and other people that said, how are you getting all these deals all of the time? They knew that I was always, in going this Prague or Thailand or somewhere, and always at a coffee shop. They always saw me, so they said, can you, how are you doing? And I thought, okay, my time's valuable, so I'm going to charge for my time. And I've got a small group of students, up 10 students I teach, and I teach them this core principle of how to do it virtually and how to have a system that's proven and that works. And in the UK, it's sort of like I'm bringing it to the UK because there's not really no one else. There's a few people that are doing it that I personally know, but there's no one really that's taking it to a level where they can travel and their business doesn't get affected by that. So it's just treating it like a real business. And I don't think it's so rocket science as much as people make it out to be, but you just need to knuckle down and learn from the best, really. Just go to the best. And when I read the 4-Hour Work Week from Tim Ferriss, I just saw everything. I immersed myself in what he was teaching, and I just took action, really. I think people just need to stop procrastinating and over-analyzing things and making things so difficult, because sometimes that can be you're scared to take action, so you're like, oh no, that's that excuse or that excuse, and it's like you just have to do it, really. I mean, one day, if you really want to change, and my life at the time, I hit rock bottom, so for me, I had to change, so I was put in a must situation. So
yeah. Well, you're starting to teach and coach people now. You're starting to do some workshops. You got some workshops coming up. Are you going to be teaching this stuff now in England and in Spain and France and some other countries? Or is that what your goal is?
Well, like I said, I've had a small group of inner circle clients I've been teaching on a one-to-one basis, but I've had a lot of people that have come and inquired and got in touch with me and said, I want to learn how to do this, have a system in place where I can maybe not travel the world, but they just want to stay at home. Maybe if they want to go out with their kids to a nice restaurant and they don't want to drive around to see some house because they feel they're forced to do that. And it just gives you more freedom. So yeah, I've actually got an event coming up. It's the dates aren't set in stone yet because I still need to organise it and set that up. It's definitely coming. It's mid-April, and that's going to be held in Costa del Sol. And it's going to be in a beautiful villa there, really 10-bedroom villa, and it's the event's not going to be me up on stage just giving you theory. It's going to be practical. So we're going to be actually doing deals there and then. And I'm going to be helping people set up the systems and actually making progress on the day. It's going to be a 3-day event. It's going to be a blast. Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Very good.
I'm really looking forward to hearing how that goes. And Tom and I were talking before about me possibly coming to Europe and helping him teach and speak at some of these events. I think it's exciting because there's a ton of potential and a lot of people. It doesn't matter if you're in the United States or in England. There's always going to be sellers who want to sell their house but can't. And they're looking for creative solutions. They're looking for investors who can understand how to structure creative real estate deals. And, there's even a lot of people in the United States that could possibly start flipping lease options in England.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, I'm actually flying over. I'm going to LA to spend a few months in LA. And that's nice. at the end of Feb. Before that and before the event, just have some, I've never been to the US before, so that's going to be a new experience for me. And the
LA,
business will
well, let's talk about this for a second here. LA is a beautiful city, but you should probably spend most of your time south and north of there. If you're going to be in the United States for a few months, I like San Diego a lot better. It's a lot prettier there. The weather's nicer. There's not as much smog. So you should go spend some time in San Diego. Okay. And then you should also spend some time up in Northern California because it's really beautiful up there. I'm not knocking LA. I know I have a lot of friends who live there, and a lot of people listening to this are from LA.
We love LA.
The comment sections just build up.
No. But, I'm just telling you, don't spend your entire trip in LA. Make sure you go down south to San Diego, you go up to San Francisco. And go.
Yeah, well,
up.
my plan is to go to New York and also go to Hawaii for a few weeks and to spend some time there and then go.
How long are you going to be gone?
Probably for a couple of months.
Nice.
And then I'm coming back to do. I've obviously got the event in Marbella. And just doing that, just being an example, really, because everyone can talk about it, but living it is a different thing. So I just want to show how simple, it can be when you have that system up. And like I said, it's not for everyone. I'm not trying to, I don't try and sell people. It's just only people that are serious and want to actually have a business and scale a business, even if there's experienced investors that's thinking, well, I'm already doing well, but you can still, there's always a next level. That's what I've experienced. There's always another level, and there's bigger deals and different types of strategies we can implement as well. But it's going to be just more fun than anything.
So are you going to be chronicling your journey and talking about, like on a blog or on Facebook, about deals that you're flipping? Are you going to be actually showing how you're doing this stuff as you travel?
Yeah, I will be doing a YouTube channel and a blog, I'm putting them on there and actually showing case study deals that I'm doing,
So sure. If people want to follow you, get more information about you, where can they go?
For now, I mean, I've actually got a website coming soon, and that's that's coming soon. But they can contact me via directly on Facebook, and they can touch base with me, and I can answer any of the questions they have. Are you on Facebook as Thomas Wade or Tom Wade? Tom Wade. Tom Wade. I can give you the link if you like, and you can give that to them guys. Yeah.
Will you send us the link to your Facebook page, and also the links to those the realtor websites? I'm just curious to see.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I found them here.
Right.
You've got like a candle in the middle of a piece of food or something on your plate, right?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Is that a birthday celebration or something?
Yeah, that was in a really nice in London, a restaurant, a Japanese restaurant actually, Hakkasan.
Oh,
really
wow!
Restaurant. Really, really nice
awesome
place. You have to come. Have you been to London, Alex, before? Or?
No, I have not.
Have you ever been outside of the state of Virginia? Have you ever left your house?
I sometimes leave my house.
He comes up.
Yeah. Well, you go down to the beach. You go to Florida once in a while, right?
No. Last big trip we did with the family was
Turkmenistan.
Was beaches resorts out in Turks and Caicos. That was out of the country, and that was really nice.
Alex, we got to get you and your family. I mean, you have 4 kids. Young,
I do.
Beautiful kids.
Thank you.
Awesome wife. And you've got to come to Europe with us.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
It's Europe's amazing. I mean, it's you got Prague and Berlin and Barcelona's incredible. Have you been to Barcelona, Joe, before?
No, we really want to. So we're talking about going for maybe 6 months.
Wow.
And at least once a month, we want to travel to a new country.
Oh wow!
It's amazing how cheap airfare is when you're inside of Europe. It's really cheap. It's
really
cheaper and faster than the train to fly around. Yeah. So, I mean, you're just looking at it's funny too. If you look at a map, Europe is actually smaller than the United States, and so you could fly from Prague to anywhere in Europe for an hour or 2-hour flight. It's really
it's like 70 pounds, 80 pounds.
Yeah,
or something, or maybe cheaper. So it's really good. But I mean, I recommend Prague, and you've also got Barcelona, Rome as well. Yeah. is incredible. Rome's a beautiful place. Really amazing.
We want to do that. We want to go to northern Italy and the mountains there. But we'll talk later because I'd like to get your advice on good places to go and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure, yeah. No,
one of the biggest things I want to do is I want to take a cruise up the coast of Norway into all the fjords.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Oh, it's just I've always loved seeing pictures of that. And if there's anybody from Norway listening to this podcast, send us a message. I'd love to talk with you, and because I really want to go to Norway and Sweden. I love that area, and I just love the pictures up there. But
I am Swedish, actually, so yeah, I should go visit the home country. Yeah.
Oh, really?
And German.
Yes. Germany is a great country. We spent a lot of time in this little town called Immenstadt. Immenstadt is real close to where that famous castle, Karlstein. No, I want to say Karlstein's in Prague or Europe. I mean Czech. What's that Neuschwanstein? What's that Neuschwanstein castle in Germany? Isn't that what it's called, Tom?
I'm not actually familiar with that.
It's a famous castle it's a famous castle that Disney is designed after.
Oh, really?
I'm embarrassed. I don't remember.
But
it's in the mountains. And it's where we was real close to where some of the mountain ranges where The Sound of Music was filmed. You can see them out in the distance. But anyway, it's beautiful. We love going there. And Alex, I think your wife will, like my wife, will fall in love with it. And you could go.
We're gonna wait till the kids get just a smidge older, because we've got. And if you don't know, I have my oldest is 6, my youngest. Then I have another one that's 4, and then I have a 2-year-old, and then I have a 10-month-old. So
that is pretty young.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! I just got a text from my assistant that I'm late for this call.
Oh, Joe.
Okay. Tell him I will be. Oops, I'm sorry. Hold on a second.
No worries. Unscripted.
Okay, so I do got to go. So it's a coaching that everybody's waiting on me for. Thanks so much, Tom, for coming.
Man.
You sure you don't want to give us your website so that
maybe when it's done, he'll give it to us and we'll put it in the notes.
If he gives it to us, it'll light a fire under his butt to actually get it done.
Oh,
you see, Tom, I'm doing you a favor.
It's getting built now. I've got a team busy with that.
Do you have I'll tell you what, because it is going to be a few weeks before we get this released because we have to edit it and everything. Will you have it done in a couple weeks?
In a couple of weeks. Well, it's an online program, so it's going to be www.learntoflipremotely.com.
Learn
to number 2 flipremotely.com.
Learn the number 2 flip
remotely.com. And there's going to be blogs on there and free stuff as well for people, so they can just I'm going to track a load of stuff and put it on there, and people can just model it and apply it.
I'm so glad that you gave us that because it motivates you to hurry up and get that website done.
Yeah, for sure.
So get it done, and then but by the time we release this podcast, it should be up and ready to go. Tom, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Awesome, thanks for having me.
I'm really looking forward to meeting you. Maybe I'll see you in Spain.
For sure.
That. But even if not in Spain, you're going to be doing some more. And while I'm in Europe, maybe we could hook up and do some conferences or workshops together.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think people need people, and we had so much people, asking and stuff, and it's just about, just sort of giving them a new, and then a year later they can be saying, look, I'm traveling and doing it. So that's the goal that I want to sort of do to the UK. I mean, I know in the US a lot of people are more familiar with doing it virtually now. I know obviously you've got Chris Chico as the original person was needed. I've followed some of his stuff as well. So I want to be able to give back and help people in the UK and
nice,
and get people just doing more deals. Really.
We just released an interview with Chris Chico, and we don't want to build up his ego any more than it already is. But here's another example, Alex. Here's another guy that was influenced by Chris Chico.
There you go.
All right. Hey, thanks again, Tom. Everybody, we're going to have the show notes and all the links that we talked about in the show notes at realestateinvestingmastery.com. Go look up Tom on Facebook. Real nice guy. It's been great talking to him, and he also has a website that will be up soon. LearnFlipremotely.com, and I'm looking forward to seeing the good things that you're doing, Tom. Keep up the good work, man.
Awesome, man. Cheers, guys. Yeah, nice one. Cheers for having me, guys.
All right. See you later, guys. See you, Alex.
Take care, guys.
We'll see you.
See you later, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.